Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day, which today we're going to be talking about using our Translate AI service to reach new audiences. One thing you might note is that my background's a bit different than it's been recently. I'm experimenting with a couple of the settings here on StreamYard, which we use for our live streams. So, like I can see there's a little bit of kind of funniness behind my head and stuff like that. It'll probably be a different background tomorrow. You'll also notice I've got this microphone here. I'm in a different location than I normally am. But with all that said, I'm really excited to talk about today's Lean Publishing Tip of the Day. As always, if you go to our blog at leanpub.com/blog, you can find all the articles related to these videos there. Again, that's leanpub.com/blog. If you don't see the actual article that this video, whenever you're watching it, is about, you can just click on the magnifying glass and search for the terms to find it. Yeah, and these videos, of course, they're all recorded. So if you hop in late or if you miss it, whatever, you can go to our Leanpub our YouTube channel at Leanpub and find the playlist for the Lean Publishing Tips of the Day. We're going to be doing 5 of these a week. So eventually there's going to be quite a few there for you to scroll through and watch. If you're curious about anything, it'll be a kind of like, video help center or advice center. And we're really looking forward to having like a lot of articles there one day. So today I'm here to talk about TranslateAI. So what is this? So quite some time ago, we used OpenAI and other services to basically create a way of translating Leanpub books. Now, the important thing to note there is that if you're familiar with Leanpub, you'll know there's basically 2 ways to publish a book on Leanpub. One way is the upload writing mode, which is the simplest. If you have an EPUB and or a PDF of your ebook, you just use our upload writing mode and you upload your book. And then that's what people download. You set up all the other, sort of about the book and metadata and what have you, but it's just uploading. But the kind of real magic of Leanpub is our own book writing modes, where you write in plain text. You can do this in your browser, or you can do this on your computer if you're using our GitHub or Dropbox writing modes. And the GitHub one being just, of course, magical kind of version control kind of thing, just an amazing thing in the kind of book world if you're into that kind of nerdy stuff. But if you're writing a book on Leanpub in plain text, in what we call Markua, which is our markdown for books, then you can just click a button and you can have your book translated into up to 31 languages now. The interesting thing about that too is that we don't just it's funny when one of our first authors who we did this for was amazed by the translations, of course, but what they were really amazed by was the fact that through this process, this automated process, we actually set up a separate translated landing page for your book. So actually, with the click of a button, you can actually have 31 new landing pages just done for you for your book. And this particular author had used Amazon KDP, I think, in the past, and just talked about how much work it would actually be to set up 31 web pages, each in a different language for a book. So it's a really amazing service. The technical how does it work thing question, if you see this article here on the right, there's a link to actually a video of me talking in a book industry study group webinar quite some time ago. I think it was last summer or something like that. Talking a little bit about the technical details of how TranslateAI works. If I could recall correctly, the analogy we came up with was basically imagine your whole book is a puzzle. And imagine we broke it down into individual pieces and then kind of translated the pieces. But the translation of each piece is informed by an understanding of the whole book. So it's not just like the equivalent of copying and pasting sentences into Google Translate. Our TranslateAI service kind of knows that it's a book, that it's translating what sort of the features of a book are and what's in the rest of the book. So that informs the translation. The question of how good the translations are is a very interesting one. This is something that's kind of like, I haven't seen anything about it in a while in the kind of, I follow sort of like self-publishing and book industry blogs and stuff like that. It seems to have entered the kind of consciousness of people in the book industry and the self-publishing world as like basically probably more or less an AI pass, at least, is going to be the first step in let's say like non-literary translation going forward. So for like what you might think of as like straightforward, what I like to call straightforward nonfiction books. Probably even if human translators are involved in the translation of books going forward, um, as they surely will be, the first pass of the translation will probably by convention be AI, if it isn't already, in the sort of inner workings of the bigger book publishers. Now, the other question about how good are the translations that we get to is like, I've written a computer programming book, or I've written a highly technical book with lots of acronyms and technical terms that, shouldn't be translated. Is Leanpub's TranslateAI smart enough to do that? And the answer is yes. We kind of cut our teeth on, some of the hardest kinds of nonfiction book to translate, which are these technical books. And like if you've got code samples and stuff like that, we know how to handle them intelligently. The other question about how good are the translations from TranslateAI is how good do you or your readers need them to be, is an important question to keep in mind. So, for example, think of someone who, if you've written a book that someone needs to read for work or for school or for like a course that they're taking in university or college or something like that. Good enough is good enough as far as the translation is concerned for a person with that kind of practical requirement. Another way to look at it is if your book would have never been available in this language in any form at all, what's good enough? Now that's all a little bit. I've been sort of a little bit kind of like dodging the sort of central question, which is really, Len, how good are the translations for TranslateAI? And in response to the feedback that we've gotten and iterating over time, our general sort of way of putting this is that the translations are good enough for a straightforward nonfiction book written on Leanpub. The TranslateAI translations are good enough that if the book is translated into your first language, and let's say English, if the original book was in English and the book's been translated into what is your first language, you would rather read that book in the translation into your first language than you would read that book in the original English, which is your second or third or fourth language. So having these books translated into someone's first language using TranslateAI is like the feedback there is that, yeah, this is good enough. Another question, and I think this is already kind of getting old fashioned, is like, but won't it kind of sound AI-y? And I'd say like currently, yeah, the answer is probably often you will, if you're reading the translation, you will go, oh, that's obviously an AI there. And I think most people, especially people who need to read your book or who are just so thrilled and excited that it's available in their first language in any form, are going to be familiar with like reading AI produced text that's all around us. The fact that a Leanpub book will have been translated from a like human written book means that the sort of AI-ness will probably be quite mitigated compared to something that was just completely written with AI. But basically, what's kind of interesting for us is that, like, books that would have never been translated into another language now can affordably and both in terms of money and time translated into that language, that it can be with a like web page where people can read it in that, like read about the book in that language and buy it kind of in that language. It's just such an incredible development. Again, we can scope it to the world of like nonfiction books, but it's just such an incredible development. I mean, there's a country I won't name where I think like I heard that all basically medical students have to learn English because all the kind of medical journals that are kind of prominent in this one particular field are in English. And I imagine like all of that could just be translated into their own language. And the fact that I would add to that, particularly with the way lean publishing works, that you get things out there and respond to people's feedback. The idea that the translation can be improved by someone going, oh, the AI made a mistake on page 85. The reader can let you as the Leanpub author know, and then you can go and fix it in response to their feedback. So it's just a really exciting thing. One note to make about with respect to lean publishing, where we encourage people to publish in progress, TranslateAI is for when your book is done, like done. when you're ready to, when you like, no more changes are going to be made, then you want to go and click the button. Let me just show you what this looks like on Leanpub. So here's the Translate AI page. It's at leanpub.com/translate_AI/buy, BUY. Here you can see what the pricing is, and I'll talk about that in just a second. You can see some details about how long it will take and stuff like that, how you earn ordinary royalties and things like that. There's a little drop down where you can choose a book if you've written more than one book on Leanpub, or you've got more than one book on the go. And then what you can do, there's this little scary red thing at the bottom here because we haven't picked a language, but we can actually pick a language. And then there's a little sort of message here about making sure that your book is 100% complete before you go. And then you'll see a selected price. Right now, if I select a second language, the price stays at $249 because we've got a kind of 2-for-1, buy one, get two free offer going right now. And so getting back to pricing, let me go back to the blog post. I've just pasted into the blog post the current pricing. This is obviously subject to change. There might be various deals, things like that. But yeah, it's $249 for 1 to 3 languages. I think actually, if I went back and chose a third language right now, the price would have stayed at $249, $499 for 4 to 6 languages, $749 for 7 to 9 languages, and so on. If you're curious, so that's what it costs. If you're curious about some examples, we do have some examples in the blog post that we talk about. One of the more interesting ones, let me just share, is Thad McElroy's book, The AI Revolution in Book Publishing, which was one of the first books to use our TranslateAI service, if I recall correctly, quite fittingly. Speaking of lean publishing, one of the reasons this book is on Leanpub is because it can be updated. And people would ask that, why are you publishing a book on AI? It changes so fast. He's like, well, on Leanpub, I can update the book. But if you want to see some examples, if you scroll down, you can see the translation section here. You can go to the page for the translation. These books aren't free. So let me just show you. There's a couple of free examples here, or at least free minimum price examples. So I just clicked on the Elements of Data Analytics Style by Jeff Leake. You can go here. You can click on these translations. Here's Dutch. And you can scroll down and get it for free if you want to. And then you can check out the translation into your language, your first language, presumably, if you're interested in seeing how good they are. Yeah, and then so the remaining question is, should I get TranslateAI for my book? This sort of, I write these posts, or typically they're written by me, and I remember, getting to this point, and it's like, should I buy TranslateAI for my book? And I'm just quite conflicted. I think yes, yes, you should. Think about all the time and perhaps even money that you spent into writing your book, and now you can, for some money, you can click a button and you can have it available in entire other languages. This is to me, all I can say is it's a no-brainer. If you can have your book available if you've written it in English and you can have it available in 2 or 3 other languages for $250, if you've got $250 in your book marketing budget, I doubt you can find a better way of spending it than getting these translations. Marketing the translations is then a challenge that you will face. Start if you're on LinkedIn, I recommend starting there and promoting it, to sort of saying, oh, my book is now available in this language, etc. You could maybe, if you don't speak or write the language yourself, you could maybe use ChatGPT or something to write a little translate a little promo text for you. My book is now available in German, but have that said in German. And then, experiment with this sort of basically brand new product that you have available to a brand new audience to market and sell and reach new people with. So I definitely strongly recommend that if you've written a book on Leanpub, or that you get TranslateAI, and that if you are going to write a book on Leanpub, write it in one of our writing modes, and at the end you get this amazing translation service. It's really just quite incredible that we live in this time when we can do this, when you can write a nonfiction book and actually affordably and in a short period of time have it available in dozens of languages. It's a revolutionary moment, really. We're not at the very beginning of it anymore, so you may have heard someone else talking about this. But this translation, AI translation, is just going to be a part of self-publishing books going forward, with the caveat that I always like to add that probably not for literary works. But even that, I have kind of more or less kind of radical views on that, which is that, like, if something can be available in a language that it wasn't available in before, the people who are reading it are going to be forgiving with respect to quality if they know that they would otherwise like quality, which they would otherwise not be able to read at all. Um, so it's a revolutionary time. AI translations are simply going to be a part of the book world going forward. That's a great thing for everybody who's having whole books opened up to their availability in their language that would have never been available in their language before. It's quite an incredible thing. So yeah, if you've written a book on Leanpub, I highly recommend you check out our TranslateAI service. As usual, you can find it. You can search for this article that I was showing on our blog at leanpub.com/blog. You can also probably just Google it and find Leanpub Translate AI pretty easily. It's also on, like, if you go into the top right of any Leanpub page and click the kind of big menu thing, you'll find Translate AI links, Translate AI link there. I definitely recommend you check it out. If you have any questions about it, you can just reach out to me and to all of us at Leanpub at hello@leanpub.com. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Yeah, and if you're interested in more videos like this, with Lean Publishing Tip of the Day every weekday, about self-publishing and in particular Leanpub and Lean Publishing, definitely like and subscribe. Particularly, we're encouraging people to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Leanpub. Yeah, and thanks very much, everyone, for watching this live stream today.